Special thank you to our sponsor of Russ Reels Live, Ironhead Roofing in Corvallis, Oregon. For more information on Ironhead Roofing and their amazing roofing services in the Willamette Valley and beyond, go to ironheadroofing.com. Hey everybody, I was just trying to see if I could catch Scott off guard because he didn't know he was going to be on right away. No, this is not the experience. This is Russ Reels Live today, and Scott just happens to be here because he's my great friend and he likes to jump in and talk to me.
Well, anytime I can, when you send out that request, say, hey, can you be on Russ Reels? I'm like, yeah. And then I check my calendar and check with my wife and make sure that I'm okay. But the discussions in the panel, the folks that you have are just so remarkable. It's just an honor and a privilege to be counted among these folks. And today's topic, perspectives and purpose.
Yeah. Well, and it's amazing, Scott, because you and I get to do this a lot together, and what a blessing for me. And you're right. We do have amazing people. It's because I don't know if people feel sorry for me or they actually like me and just want to come on, but at least they come on.
Absolutely. Everyone wants to be Russ's friend.
There you go. Well, blessed with so many great friends. And so it is amazing. And I am truly honored, truly blessed. And today we're going to do this quick because I want to get Chris in the room. We have an amazing panel. We have Inger, Chris, and Noopy here with you and I today, Scott. And, it is just amazing because we get to talk purpose and perspective. And before we do that, though, I just want to remind everybody, this is Russ Reels Live. I'm here at 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time every Thursday. Unfortunately, Scott's not always with me, but he's here quite often. And so we have so much fun. This is a weekly show, come rain or come shine. So please come join us. You know that I love to connect with y'all. So go to russhedge.com today, connect with me. I would love to be able to talk with you, Zoom with you, or converse with you any way you like through social media. You can go to my YouTube page at russreels.live. You can subscribe today, and you can do that right now. In fact, whether you're watching live or in replay, subscribe today. You'll get all the notices about the upcoming content and all the past amazing content of Russ Reels Live, and Marketing with Russ is on there. So you get both of those. And so I am just thankful that you're all here today. And I think that's all we're going to say, because we're going to get Chris in the room and start chatting.
And okay? I put into the comments a link, a quote and a link to an article, academic research. A lot of people know I share a lot of research out. And as we talk about purpose and perspective, this particular article that I linked to, it's research actually, is called "Purpose in Life is a Predictor of Mortality Across Adulthood." And if you read the quote, it says, "Having a purpose in life appears to widely buffer against the mortality risk across your adult years." So
you live longer. Have purpose, you'll live longer, and you have a good perspective, and you're happier. That's for sure. So,
and it's been proven.
There it is. There is the link. You got it. It's clickable in the comments and right on. Thanks, Scott. All right, here we go. Chris is coming. He's ready. He's jumping. He's got his bass out. He's playing.
What's going on, man?
Scott didn't know you played the bass. I just found that out. So there you go.
Yeah, but I do not sing. It's been very well established. I do not
That's
sing.
Right. Do not sing. And Scott's going to get his bass out.
I see that.
He plays at church every Sunday.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Heck,
are you playing at Chris?
That's great.
Are you playing at church?
I'm not right now. No, okay. I have in the past. So yeah.
Cool. Right on.
Yeah.
I'm off to rehearsal. When we're done with Russ Reels, I'm heading off to a rehearsal tonight.
All right.
Chris is going to church too.
Yeah. I got to bounce out early to go to church. I know.
We don't have church tonight.
Just hop on a
coming, Chris.
plane.
There you go. That's it. I can't wait to be there. All
Yeah.
right. Well, this is so cool. Well, listen, I am going to get things rolling here. And I am just excited really about our topic today because all of you that are on, I think, are so driven, full of purpose, and are so passionate about life and have a great perspective. And I thought this was something that so many people really need because they suffer from really the doldrums sometimes, having a
Mhm.
really poor perspective on life, really not feeling like they have a real purpose. And God has created us all with a real purpose and a passion and a what's the word I'm looking for? Talents in life to actually make
Yeah.
amazing things happen. And so today I think that's so important. But Chris, let's start off with you and first tell everybody who is the amazing Chris Hennessy and what in the world are you up to?
Well, yeah, I don't know about amazing, but yeah, I am Chris Hennessy. I am a remote live stream producer and trainer, so I can do top to bottom full live stream production for you. Or if you're a DIY kind of person, I can show you all the ins and outs and strategies and tips and tricks to make your live stream a success so you don't look like I did when I first started streaming.
Yeah, but the fun part of that is part of that's fun, Chris, because
Yeah, it is. You're right. Yeah.
you stumble your way through and you're just kind of going, oh, brother,
Yeah, I
figuring
go
it
back and
all
look at
out.
some of those first live streams and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this was ridiculous. Like, why? Who even
Why?
showed up? Why did they show up?
Well,
Oh,
this comment comes up. We talk about when you're an entrepreneur, if you're not embarrassed by your first release, you waited too long.
Right.
Right?
For sure.
And you look back and you go, oh
100%.
my gosh. I look back on those pictures of me in high school, and I thought I was styling. And
I
we
love
do the
it.
same thing on our entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, I just love that whole thing about high school because your kids, they grow up and they think you're just a big dork, and they think that they're cool. And I had my best friend from high school send me a picture of he and I with our shades on. We are up in Canada on a choir tour, looking really cool, looking really fashionable. And he goes, "Look at us." He said, "We're so cool." Even if nobody else thinks so, we do. Oh, wow. Well, Chris, I love all that you do. And before we get any deeper into the conversation, we're going to get Noopy and Inger in the room. Noopy's
Okay.
still doing her hair, so we're going to bring Inger in.
I tell you, this is not behind the scenes. Dr. Noopy, by the way, sponsors the experience behind backstage, right? Which is
Right.
kind of the behind the scenes in the morning. So I think you should bring her in anyway, just because
I think
Well,
so,
she,
too.
it's appropriate.
she
She waving
is.
you off.
Yeah, no. I'm going to let Inger introduce herself. I'm going to let my
All right.
little sis hang tight for a minute. Learn patience. Just a minute here.
Oh, thank
She's
you.
breathing. She's busy in her F list right now. She's going through all that. So anyway, and I don't want to tell you which F she's showing me right now. So anyway, Inger,
Fabulous.
how are you? This is a PG rated church show. Come on.
I'm well.
All right,
thank you.
Inger,
How are you?
save us. Take us. Here
Oh,
we go.
Hello. Thank you for having me, Russ. It's good to see you and Chris as well as Scott. My name is Inger, and I am recognized as a connection catalyst. I help businesses build a strategy so that they can stand out and connect with the ideal community. I'm happy to be here. Bring Noopy on now so we can see her hair.
Okay, here she goes. Let's see if her hair's done. There she is. Woo! Here, let's blow Noopy up and see if we can see her hair now. There she is. Okay.
Styling.
There you
Well,
go.
hello, Dr. Noopy Aurora.
Why, hello, gentlemen and lady friend. Hello. How wonderful to be here. Thank
And
you.
Wonderful
she's
to have you.
Dr. Noopy is using the broad definition of gentleman. By the way.
very much so.
So, how's my little sis tonight?
I'm doing really well. I've just been Enjoying the sunshine. I think I forgot to put sun cream on my face actually, so I could my forehead got a bit burned, but I've had a beautiful day. Thank you. I'm very well, chilled,
Good.
relaxed. I cannot wait to get my teeth stuck in to this juicy topic.
There you go. It always
And it's
is.
midnight.
always
It's midnight, right? Just past
Yes.
midnight for you.
Yes,
Yeah. That's when
I slept.
things get
earlier.
funny at that point.
I know.
So Chris and I are going to have a lot of fun because anything we say, you're going to laugh at.
Yeah, of course.
She does that during normal day hours. So I mean,
Yeah. I get the if you watched The Glitter Practitioner this week, oh, shall I tell everybody who I am, Mr. Ross?
This
You
is
just
my
do it.
favorite part of producing her show is that I spend the majority of my time putting up comments on the screen that are going to make her crack up and laugh during the show.
I've actually gotten so much better with the focus.
I don't know about that.
Monday was that is the giddiest I have actually been ever. Absolutely ever.
it
I
was.
literally could not stop laughing.
It was
Anyway,
crazy. It was
so
crazy. Anyway,
shall
who
I
is the
introduce
glitter
myself?
practitioner? Who are you?
Yes. So, hi everybody. I am Dr. Nupi, the glitter practitioner. I am a general practitioner in the UK, family physician, and my passion is holistic hair care. Holistic hair? Oh my goodness. Holistic. I was trying to say health and it came out as hair because I was curling my hair in the green room, for God's sake.
No.
Okay. My passion is holistic health, care, and well-being. And what I mean by that is I love nothing more than empowering others, be it my patients or my clients as a coach, to really truly understand their health needs from a mind, body, soul perspective. And once you know how to keep those needs rebalanced, restored, replenished, topped up, that's when you are literally fizzing out these fountains of glitter. And that is what is uplifting, inspiring. And it's like the ripple effect. Glitter goes everywhere. It spreads from one person to the other. And miracles really can happen and do happen when you become aligned with your needs. And you do that through understanding, know thyself. And I created a framework called the F List from my own experiences and recovery from burnout, which was 12, 13 years ago. And I've used this list in clinical practice daily with patients where I used to work. And yeah, it's how you get your physessence back. And yeah, so that's me in a nutshell.
That's you in a nutshell. All right. Well, I'm glad we got through the nutshell. So we're going to move back to Chris real quickly because we want to give Chris plenty of time before he has to gallop off today. But, Chris, I want you to start us off really the importance of having purpose and knowing your purpose and then really keeping a good perspective because we all know there's ups and downs in life. And how you look at that is going to make all the difference.
Yep. Knowing your purpose is extremely important. When I was locked up, for those of you that don't know, I did a little over 8 years in prison. When I was locked up, God really did a lot of work in my life. He showed me my purpose, showed me my calling, all the things. And it was at that moment it was over those, course of 4 or 5 of those 8 years that, I really began to walk in my purpose because I knew who I was, and that changed my perspective. Like it was this whole thing. It wasn't just one and then, like it was like they were all tied in together. So once you know your purpose, once you know your calling and what God has called you to do, it's going to change your perspective on everything. It changed how I looked at myself. It changed how I looked at everybody else. It changed how I looked at the world. It changed it.
Yeah. Well, and that right there is an excellent, the way you put that, because based on your perspective and how you think and look at life changes everything you do and say and how you act. It affects every part of your life.
It does. It really does.
Yeah. And I think that is so important for people to realize because for example, Chris, people that are going through major troubles and are tinkling dishes like Noopy,
Yeah.
then
It was Colby the dog. It wasn't me. It wasn't.
You can't blame it on the dog.
Are you
it's
saying?
the dog?
Are you
it's the
telling
dog.
me
Poor
that
dog.
the dog was tinkling?
I'm trying to be really serious here. I'm really like, I'm in the zone listening to these
I
wonderful
thought I had
comments.
a serious question.
Yeah. One for
Colby-
Scott. One for
Colby
Scott.
basically starts jingling away at the bloody table. Right. And
So, Chris, I'm going to save us back here and say, you know,
Yeah.
going through what you went through being incarcerated,
Mhm.
going through, you know, my current journey with cancer and all that, when you have major things happen
Yeah.
in your life, that's when the rubber really hits the road, right?
For
And that's
sure.
when God
For
can
sure.
really work in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it takes sometimes. For me, it did. It took getting to that point of the rubber meeting the road, hitting my bottom, for me to allow God to move in my life.
yes.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, sometimes it does take something that's really big to make people stop and pay attention and take a look
Mhm.
at things, because I think life tends to get away from us sometimes and we just kind of live life on autopilot.
Yep.
Not really a good place to be. The comfort zone and autopilot is not a good place to be in life. We think it is at the time. We think and we feel pretty good. Things are good. It takes some of that grit and those challenges and those hard times and all that to really make us who we are and
Yes.
everything. So, Scott, I think, you know, you've skated through. Your life's been perfect all the way through, right?
That's the fortunate part. Yeah, I was just reminded. I was reminded of a description of a rut. Right, so you get in a rut, and a friend once said, "Scott, do you know what a rut is?" He said, "A rut is a grave with both ends kicked out." Think about that, right? So, in my first book, Motivational Listener: Be Interesting by Being Interested, a practical guide to being successful at business networking events. That's why I had to be a big cover, because that's a lot to put on the
That's a lot.
one book
That's the
cover.
title,
But
boy.
That title took the entire cover.
that was that's the whole book right there. But there's a chapter in there, a part that I talk about what our greatest fear is. And I argue that our greatest fear is not pain or death, but it's irrelevance, right?
Mhm.
It is not being relevant, not having, and basically it's not having purpose. And so the allegory that I put in there, and Chris, this is not directed to you, this is actually part of the book, but the story was that there was a prison, and the prisoner in his cell had a window that looked out on the yard. And the prisoner's punishment was not being separated from society. But in the yard, there was a pile of gravel, and every day the prisoner had to go out of that yard and move the gravel from one side of the yard to the other. And then when it was over there, move it back again. And so the punishment was looking through the window and realizing that prisoner's labor, every effort, every drop of sweat, every step was useless. There was no benefit to what that person was doing. That was the punishment. And this is part of why I say our fear is not that we're going to have pain or that we're going to die someday. It's that our life will not have any meaning.
Wow. That was heavy.
So good.
You know, that was good.
So
This is what Scott does to me all the time. We just got together. We actually got together for coffee the other day, and he just fills me with so much. I'm like going, okay, wait. I need a week to process all that you just told me.
Oh my gosh, you cracked
you know-
me up so much.
Go ahead.
Can I
Chris.
kind of interject into that prison story? Like
Yeah.
that kind of, I didn't ever have to move one gravel from one side to the other, but there was a lot of times I was in the field squad and they'd send, 120 of us out. They'd line us up 3 wide they're called Aggies. It's like a heavy duty hoe. And you're standing just far enough away from the person in front of you where you're not hitting them with it. And you're chopping grass like on a fence line while there's a tractor with a brush hog coming down the other side of the fence.
Oh my.
Like that just hit home, because I was like, I've done that meaningless work. Like you just have us out there just no
It's-
purpose
it's-
whatsoever.
Yeah, it's demeaning. It's demeaning to
Yeah.
you as a
Yeah.
human being,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that a lot of people, unfortunately, today feel irrelevant and they feel like they're not significant in what they do. And I think it's important, Inger, we'll let you up next here. I think it's important for people to realize that, hey, I feel they all have a God given purpose, and people definitely have a purpose and a path in their life. They just have to get on and move forward.
Absolutely. I think many times we think that we need to know what's ahead of us, what we need to do, right? Like we want to we want to plan everything to the nth degree. But what we don't realize is that actually what we need to do is just put one foot in front of the other. Because what happened in your past is laying the groundwork for your future.
Mhm.
And all you need to do is keep going and you will find your purpose.
Yeah. Well, I think that so often, and correct me if I'm wrong, Inger, because you probably have it all together, but so often
No.
we have troubles. A lot of us have troubles continuing to move forward because you're overwhelmed. You're dealing with, low self-esteem. You are, you've got imposter syndrome
Mhm.
and all these things that are telling you you don't have a reason, and we can call that something else, but really, you got to overcome that by forward progress and momentum, right? Really building up and doing it even when you don't feel it.
Yep. Every day.
Yeah.
Just put one foot in front of the other.
One foot in
Because
front of the
at the end of the day, you're gonna find it. You're gonna find your purpose as you keep going. Um, my story. Like I would never, if you told me 3 years ago, I'm gonna be on shows where I'm gonna be talking with people, I'd be like, "What? You're crazy." No, no, this is not happening.
That's what you told me.
Yes, and you told me different. But it's true, you as you just what it is we need to embrace our curiosity. Just keep on being curious. Keep on just trying to find what it is that you need to do. Keep
Yeah.
on doing it. I speak to young people all the time, and my advice to them is that you don't have to know everything all at once. Just keep on going and you'll find it.
Yep. What is that quote? You don't need to see the whole staircase, just the next step.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because really that's what it all boils down to. I mean, we just need to, and all of us that do live streaming learned that because we got on and Scott and I were going, we have no idea what we're doing. We have zero idea, but we're going to do it anyway. And you find out you make forward progress, and then you build momentum by realizing, hey, I can actually do this after all. I may make a few mistakes, but I can still do it. And Noopy, I think that you are, the queen of the F list, and the really there's so much in there that embodies good purpose and perspective, and that's what you're all about.
Yes, absolutely. And I think talking about the momentum to push you forward, sometimes when you're in that stuck place, it's just you don't know what do I do next. It's all well and good thinking, okay, I take the next step. Break it down to your baseline needs first of all, because if you're tuning back into the things that make your heart sing, that literally make you sparkle, that make you fizz pop, your passions, these are the things that can propel you forward, because you're doing the things that you love to do. And it's all about how you find your purpose. It's the Ikigai Venn diagram. What is it you love doing? What is it that you are good at doing, what is it that you can serve humanity, serve the world, the community with, and also be remunerated? And that's a very, very brief version of it. But bang in that middle where all those circles intersect, bam, ikigai, you're living your purpose. And it sounds simple. It's supposed to be, because I think we can overcomplicate in our own minds. And that's the problem. Our heads get into the way of things. And you're often blocked by so many limiting beliefs and limiting thoughts. And I'm not good enough. I could never do that. Or fear holds you back. And it's learning how to navigate through that. And to do that, you need to be your core foundation needs to be rock solid, which needs building on. And that's the whole point. But start with the passions. Start with what you love doing.
I love that, because TD Jakes has a great quote. If you're having trouble finding your purpose, basically find out what you're passionate about. It'll lead you to your purpose.
Yes.
And that is truth. So true. And Chris, I want to bring you in before you have to go. And, you know, a lot of times fear holds us back. Fear limits what we can really do. And people need to think about that, because we're all going to be a little scared. We're all going to be a little nervous. We're not always going to be sure of everything we do. It's those that actually are willing to step forward. My good friend D. Scott Smith says, you know, the barrier to entry nowadays is just your willingness to step forward and take action, right?
Yep.
And so you just got to give it a shot. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. You just have to do it. You know, you mentioned live streaming. I went through that when I started live streaming. When I started my business, my side hustle, I had all the things going on in my head. Man, you don't know enough to do this. You hadn't been doing this long enough. You know, you're not good enough. You don't even have a home office. You have to do all this from your, you know, from your day job office, like everything going through my head. But I jumped off the cliff and did it. And I think, though, that once you it kind of goes back to the knowing your purpose and putting everything into perspective.
Yes.
Like like you said, you're going to be scared. There's going to be that little bit of fear. But when you know your purpose, that puts your life into perspective, you just kind of have to wade through it. You just got to put on your big boy pants and go.
Right. Yeah. I love that, because my the pastor's wife that I was on staff with for many years, that's exactly what she would say. And she'd say that to her husband, the pastor, put on your big boy pants and get moving, you know?
Yeah.
It's so true. I mean, you've got to, hey, step up to the plate, grow up a little bit and do it, right? What does that say, Newbie?
Always wear your brave pants.
No.
Yeah, I like that. All right.
Waterproof.
I gotta go, y'all. Love y'all. Appreciate it.
You bet, Chris. Hey, we'll see you, man. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Are those the waterproof version? Newbie?
Yeah, in case of, you know, accidents and all of that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No,
I didn't stage that. That was actually there. A friend sent me this. Anyway.
Yeah. That's so funny. Well, hey, you know, Scott, I learned from you every time we're together. And you're such a motivational and such a what's the word I'm looking for? You drive people and you help, and you've done that with me. So I just want to say that I think people, and I'll let you comment on this, people need somebody like you. People need somebody that's willing to, if they're not willing to jump off the cliff, push them off the cliff, right? I mean, Scott.
Well, that's what we said is that
a bit aggressive.
no, we said that if you give a man an airline ticket, he flies for a day. If you push a man out of an airplane, he flies for the rest of his life.
No matter how short it is, right?
Yeah.
Well, Russ, thank you.
Oh,
I
goodness
appreciate
me.
your support, Russ.
Well, you know, it's funny because I'm a good example, and then Nigger will jump to you again. I'm a good example of never really being brave enough to start my own business, stand alone. It took COVID and really God kind of pushing me off the cliff and saying, hey, this is what I designed you for. Cleared the slates. God just decided, I'm going to take this horrible thing called COVID that's going to happen. I have nothing to do with it happening, but it's going to happen. And then I'm going to have Russ figure out what he's supposed to be doing because everything will stop. And so, I mean, really, I was kind of forced into it. And a lot of times people either need somebody in their life or some kind of a thing. Chris had brought that up, Inger, that's something in their life that's large enough, dramatic enough to make that change.
Yeah. For me, it was COVID too. It
Yeah.
was COVID. So basically in 2018 I lost my job. And I was working after that. I worked as a temp. So when it got to the point of COVID-19, when March 2020 hit, I was working as a temp, and the company that I was working for, they were deemed non-essential, so they had to close their doors because of the Canadian government. And as a temp, I couldn't go virtual with everyone else. So basically, I lost my job again. And I promise you, I looked for work. I kept looking, and I didn't find anything until June of 2020. I had a friend reach out to me, and she said, "So what are you doing, Inga?" And I said, "Well, I'm looking for work, but I've also been thinking about starting my own business." And she said, "Well, why don't you?" And I had to really get honest with myself and her. And I told her that the reason was because I was afraid to fail. And she said something that really, it was mind blowing for me to think about. She said, "Well, if you do fail in a business, you can always go back to the corporate world." And I never thought about it like that, because we as adults, we think that failure is ultimate. I don't know what we think. I think we don't. I think the thought just ends right there where we fail. But we never explore what exactly is going to happen if you fail.
Yeah.
Are you going to fall
And
off a cliff?
I'm going to have to interject for just a moment and then let you continue, because I, by the way, am not a fan of failure.
Mm,
And so if you start a business
yep.
and it doesn't go the way you think it goes, it's not providing income for your family and so forth, right? And then you either discontinue it and go somewhere else, or you try something new. The word
Yeah.
is pivot, which is overused, but you make some sort of change.
Yes.
That is not failure. That is making a decision. That's making a choice. So if you try a business and it doesn't follow the plan that you think, and you do something different, it never failed. You're
No.
making a choice. You're making a
Yes.
decision.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Keep
Absolutely.
going. Keep going. You
And
did
I
not.
will say that was my mindset then, but that's not how I think now, because now I know that failure is not the opposite of success. What is it? It's part of success,
Yes.
right?
Beautiful.
That's it. First attempt in learning. Exactly. Exactly. Sorry, I just had to just
No, that's
say
fine.
that, because that's exactly what this
Yeah.
is.
Exactly.
There is no such thing as fail. How the hell do you learn otherwise? And
Yeah.
actually, Inga, you said something so interesting. Because I've been talking to my kids recently. They've been doing exams. And I've
Mhm.
always said to them, you know what? I would rather you get it wrong, understand why,
Yes.
then figure out what it is you need to do. That is the learning process. I don't want you to just rote learn it and get everything
And
right.
getting-
So
yeah.
what happens between what we know as kids, which is let's embrace our creativity side, let's just be spontaneous, and it's okay to fail, it's okay to do these things, and all of a sudden as an adult we're not mirroring that. We're beating ourselves up thinking, oh no, I can't do that because what if I do fail and I'm a disaster if I don't make it here. It almost kind of goes round in a circle. And I'm like, no.
Yeah. And I think, Nubi, I think what happens is it's nurtured.
Yeah.
That fear of failure,
Yes.
or fear of not succeeding. It's
Yes.
nurtured as we go along in life,
Yes.
right? Because
Yes.
if you think about it, if you really think about it from an adult perspective, when you
Yeah.
look at a baby that's learning to walk,
Yes.
they fall, they get up,
Yes.
they keep walking.
Yes.
When they fall, they just get up again. But if we're looking at it from an adult perspective, you should be looking at the baby and saying, stop failing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
But why is it that we cannot give ourselves grace?
Grace and that compassion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's where my gangster soul tonic comes in, which we've already spoken, the words we've already said, which
Yes.
is show yourself. It's being curious. It's having that courage. It's having that same care and compassion. And
Yeah.
you just mix these ingredients up, put a little twist of trust and time, drink twice daily. That
Yes.
is how you navigate these things. And
Right.
it's curiosity and courage is huge there.
Yes.
It's interesting because that is how I learned how to ski. So the father of my friend that was teaching me how to ski, the first time snow ski, he told me, you got to fall. And I said, I don't want to fall. What are you talking about? I'm on these skis to stay up and go forward. And he'd go, no, you need to fall, because if you don't fall, you're not pushing yourself hard
Mhm.
enough to actually
Yeah.
learn how to do it.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because I had gone down the little bunny slope a couple times, and then I went up the first chairlift with him, and I started with the snowplow with my skis together. And then I decided, you know what? Forget it. I opened my skis up and I just went. And I went for a while and fell, got up, went for a little while and fell. But just like the child that falls when they're learning how to walk, before I knew it, I was skiing down the rest of the mountain without falling.
Mhm.
Wow.
And it happened so fast that I was young and in much better shape back then. But the first day that I ever skied, I was able to go 2 or 3 levels up on decent things and actually ski. I still fell here and there, but I was actually able to do it because I let myself fail
Yeah.
on the way, or not fail. Sorry, Scott.
Yeah.
I let myself fall
That's good.
and get back up. And so
Yeah.
that's how I learned. Yeah.
You
Awesome.
say it is the imperfections of life that make life interesting, right?
Yes.
Because if Russ said, yeah, I went to the mountain and I got on I put on my skis and I got on the chairlift and I went up and I rode down and, skied down and I got on the lift and I went back up and, he says like 20 times. And I'm like, okay, good for you. But if he's like, yeah, I got on the chair and I went up and I'm coming around and going down and also, right? That's the story.
Yeah.
It's the imperfections of life.
Right.
That are,
Yeah.
that are interesting.
It's
Yeah.
what makes life interesting, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm gonna pull back to maybe I'm gonna give you a quote. Did I freeze up?
You did, but
Yeah,
you're
a
back.
little bit.
Am I back?
You're back.
Yeah.
All right. So in Motivational Listener, I referred to there's a movie called The Seven Faces of Dr. Lao. It's a Tony Randall movie. He plays 7 characters in the movie. It's based on a book. And there's a scene where this lady goes in, and this is quoted in the book. And this lady, the story is set in an old West town, and it's these little vignettes. But anyway, this one character, she is very full of herself. All she wants is money and power. And she has neither, but she doesn't treat people very well. She treats them like dirt. Anyway, so she goes into this traveling circus and talks to the fortune teller, thinking, oh, I'm going to be told these, things that tickle my ear, right? And the character is Apollonius of Tyana, says to her, predicting her future, this says, tomorrow will be like today, and the day after tomorrow will be like the day before yesterday. I see your remaining days as a tedious collection of hours full of useless vanities. You will think no new thoughts. You will forget what little you have known. Older you will become, but not wiser. Stiffer, but not more dignified. When you die, you will be buried and forgotten, and that is all. And for all the good or evil, creation or destruction your living might have accomplished, you might just as well have never lived at all.
Wow.
Wow. What an
Yeah.
end to life.
Yeah.
Very
And
deep.
there are people who
Stop
there
it,
are
Russ.
people whose lives are this way, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, what's the impact, right? There's got to be something more than just binging Netflix, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be some impact on the relationships. There's all of us get messages from Russ, right, on WhatsApp or a text or something that says, "Hey, I'm just praying for you today,"
Yeah.
right? That's an impact. That's
Yeah.
something that Russ is doing that will go well beyond. It will go generations beyond Russ's life.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Long life indeed to you, my
Well,
friend.
you know, Scott, it's very kind that you say that. And I want to say that my true definition of success in life is to be significant. What is being significant? Being significant is doing something that really matters, doing something that changes your world, doing something that makes that impact on others. And if that is the lone thing that I do in my lifetime is to encourage and inspire people and make an impact, a positive impact on their life, I will have been a great success.
Yeah. Yeah. I echo that. I think that's why I'm so passionate about, I guess, the way I practice as well. It's what I am. It's who I am as a person. There's no difference, but particularly in healthcare, I think it is in my experience, some of the patients who I've worked with, they've never been heard or seen ever, and that's the problem. And their diseases, their illnesses are a byproduct of chronic stress and everything else that's been going on in their own backstory, trauma, generational trauma even. And for me, it's holding that safe space, tuning in from here, and it is validating somebody else's experience of their real world, day to day, their humanity, and the impact this presenting complaint is having on them in their life. It's not the surface problem. It's the whole picture. That's what I mean by holistic health, whole person, heart-centered care. And it boils down to the basic needs as a human being is to be seen, to be heard, and to be valued. And gifting somebody else that time and space, that is priceless. And it can change somebody's trajectory, and that is what's important for me. This is what drives me. This is what my passion is, and I know that's my purpose. And showing other people how they can do this for themselves. So,
yeah. Well, it's really making that difference. And speaking of making that difference, I got to get us into the last round here. So Scott, we're going to actually start with you, and just really, what we're talking about today. Give everybody your gold nugget or your thing you want them to really remember, and then remind everybody how they get in touch with you. Go for it.
Yeah, so I'll just when I give talks, often I end with the same slide, and it's based on the impression that I get from my mother's life. This is not something that she said, but for me, this really sums up her life, and it's something that I want to demonstrate in mine. So that last slide that I put up says, "It's not about making money; it's about living a life that makes a difference." And so you can find me at dscottsmith.com, and all the links are there.
amen. Oh, I love
So
that.
good. So good,
Yeah,
Scott.
that's so good.
And yet all magically appeared below you. So there you go. People can click on that, get in touch with Scott. All right, Inger, you're up next.
Wow. You really want me to follow Scott?
Yes. I mean, somebody's got to, and it better you than me.
Oh my gosh.
That's why I put him first.
Okay, two things, two quotes that I'd like to share with you. The first one is about purpose, and it's one of my favorite quotes that I often share. It's by Kevin Kruk. It says, Life is about making an impact, not an income.
Mm.
Oh, nice.
Very
Mhm.
good.
That's
Another mic
something
drop.
that, yeah, impact for me is,
Yeah.
honestly, yeah. And then another one, it's an unknown quote, and it says, the difference between a stumbling block and a stepping stone is how you use them.
Oh, I like. Nice perspective.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, and Inger, how does everybody get in touch with you?
On LinkedIn, just find me there, Inge van Roy. I'm the only one.
You're the only Inger.
Yes, I'm the only Inge van Roy.
You know, it's funny because every time I type your name in, I know an Inga. I'm good friends with an Inga and Ingor, and depending on how I actually type it, it depends who comes up. So, anyway, all right, Noopy, you're up.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a quote that is my own. It is my tagline, which is be you with friggin' bells on, be your boldest, bravest, brightest, most badass self, knowing you are worthy, own your needs, protect them, and dare to be unapologetically living, which is creating the life you desire and you deserve.
Right.
And that is being aligned with your needs, your values, your passions, your purpose. And at any stage along the way, you get to choose and flip the trajectory at any time. But that's the core foundation. Be true to yourself. Be you with bells on.
So good. And how do people get in
Thanks.
touch with you?
So you can get hold of me on LinkedIn pretty much. Direct message me. I do have a Calendly link. Or you can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and what's the other one? YouTube. All the Glitter Practitioner. And there is only one.
The Glitter Practitioner.
Glitter Practitioner. And if you can't get hold of me, just go to Russ because he
There you
gets
go.
hold of me. Gangster.
I'll
Yes.
track her down.
Yeah, I am Gangster Glitter.
Ever has appeared as herself.
I know.
There she is. Yes.
I know. I know.
The amazing. There
She's
is a
fun.
real
Mhm.
person. There she is. So
Yes.
I'll get in trouble for that later. But anyway, especially if I gush on and say how amazing
Mhm.
and all the great things that Ever does and how she.
Oh
this
yeah, you
show-
don't want to embarrass her by just saying
No,
how important she is, how much
Yeah.
work
That's right.
she does, all
That's
those
right.
graphics, all of
Yes.
the postings, all the
I couldn't
preparation
have a show without her,
does.
for heaven's sake.
Yeah,
You
That's
know?
we don't
right.
want to talk
Well,
about all those things and about
Wouldn't be
how
able to do
wonderful
it
she is
without
as a
her. That's
person,
right. I mean,
how
we
she
don't want her
cares,
turning red right now.
how much, and don't talk about
She's-
how much she cares for her family,
no.
right?
And how
Don't talk about
actually
this love that she
is.
has.
She's also proper gangster. She does these reels. She puts these little clippets together. And I was
Yeah.
like, this is amazing. This is proper gangster. And she was like, why, thank you. Yeah. I loved it. And I was like,
So,
yeah,
yes.
that's
There you
you.
go. This is such a wild one. We'll definitely have to put a snippet together from this show. But anyway, listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here today.
you for
It's
having
time to
us.
wrap
Thank you
this
for
baby. So thank you so much. Hang tight. As Noopy would say,
Yes.
hang tight in the green room. I will join
Right.
you in just a
I
moment.
will join you there. Yes.
I will. Yeah, I'm not even going to try it with the accent. Okay, see ya. Bye. Okay, everybody. Amazing. Always so much fun with friends and amazing people with great content about purpose and perspective in their lives and your lives. Not coming out of perfect situations, but moving through whatever life deals. Because as I always say, life happens and then you choose, right? Life's going to happen to you. You're not going to like a lot of the stuff that happens, but you got to choose where you go from there. And the most important thing is not to stay there. You need to go through it. You need to experience it. The emotion will happen. You'll pull out stronger on the other side. I guarantee it. So just keep moving forward. Make it a great life. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. We're here every week 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on Russ Reels Live. And you can subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss out on everything going on by going to russreels.live. And you will not only get all of the upcoming content notices, but you can watch all the past content. We'd love to have you part of the community. And I just want to thank you all for being here. And until we see you again, have a great day and a great life. We'll see you, everybody. Bye-bye.